But mom, you're 41. Are you sure you want to go back to college now? This was the opening sentence in my statement of purpose for my visa application. As a mature applicant coming to Canada to study, the biggest challenge is getting your visa approved. For that, you really need to have solid statement of purpose or the letter of explanation. Having read so many rejections in the forums when I was preparing for my statement of purpose, these were the main points that I was cognizant about when writing down my SOP. Number one, you have to have a hook. Now imagine if you are the visa officer, your job is to read SOP after SOP. And if it's all a very drab exercise, I am doing this, I want to come and study here, and this is the reason why I want to do it. It really becomes very drab. The first and foremost is that we need to have an opening statement which is catchy enough so that the visa officer's interest is intrigued to read your SOP further. So my opening line was, but mom, you're 41 years of age. Now I know that that was the biggest white elephant that I had in the room that had to be addressed. Now I know that having a massive study gap was a big question mark on my whole visa application, but I wanted to come out and address it right away. That showcases that I am fully aware that yes, I'm a mature applicant, and there are chances that this is a big question mark, that not just the visa officer but even my daughter or my family and friends are questioning this thing. So if I open my statement of purpose with this question, it clearly shows that the following lines will talk about it. So once you have had a catchy line, I gave a very small 2-3 lines summary about my career so far, and then I had these paragraphs which talked about my academic background. Now I'm an engineer who worked as a coder but then moved into the finance industry. And now I wanted to study data analytics. I had to weave the whole story. It was not just that I did my graduation, then I did my MBA, and now I want to do data analytics. You really have to walk them through why, when and why you did all of these academic certifications. It might be a different case for each of you, where somebody has studied, you took a break, or then maybe you change your stream, or you're planning to change your stream. So that's how your academic progression has to show. My scores in my MBA program back in India were abysmal. That's how the case is, that you don't score really very well. So I had to ensure that how I weave the story, that even if I had a low score, my interest and my career progression later on was far better off. The next comes the work experience. What I have seen in so many statement of purposes is they just show a running line. So we understand that you would be attaching a latest resume in the application, but if you have caught the eyes of a visa officer on the statement of purpose, you have to ensure that whatever your accolades or achievements are, you mention it right away on this page. While I did give a tabular form of my latest 2 employment, of course I had worked with a number of employment, but I did not want to just clutter, and I focused about what my role was, and what was the additional responsibilities that was given to me. Now in most of the cases, it really happens that when you are hired for a particular role, but then you are doing so much more. By writing all these additional achievements or additional responsibilities, it gives a sense that you are appreciated in your organization, and that you are a good professional who not only is hired for their role, but is capable of doing much more than what is asked for. This also shows your drive to learn more and do more, so that again adds as a positive point, supporting thing as to why you want to study now. Just under the work experience, what I also mentioned about was what my current employer was looking at. And I also talked about that I worked in a financial SaaS industry, which had so much of data. Whichever industry, by the way, you work for, data is a coherent part of it. And I explained, how even in my current role, because I have been adding on to so many more responsibilities than my role and designation. If I do this data analytics course, there might be a chance that, my employer or any of the prospective employers, I would be eligible to apply for those roles. While you've now explained that, what your academic and work experience is, the next question comes, why Canada? Now, think from the visa officer's perspective. They will be like, okay, fine, you have decided to go back to study at after a massive study gap, but then why do you want to choose Canada? So the reason why I gave was that Canada, of course, is known for its diverse background. It's a melting pot, and there are so many ethnicities that I can study together with, and that completely gives me a new perspective. Now, that case is also applicable for the US. So why did I not apply to the US? The reasoning I also gave there was that why I chose Canada over the neighboring countries was that the fee structure was comparatively more economical in Canada than in other countries. So that struck off the question mark as to why am I not going to US or any of the other countries in for my further studies. The next paragraph was about, why I chose this particular university. Now, it might vary as to what university that you are going to. I moved to a very small town in Canada for my study. The reasoning I gave there was that, they have a fantastic program, that I have lived in metropolitan, I've traveled all over the world, and I've been living in Singapore for the last 4 years. But now I wanted to, go to a smaller town so that I could just concentrate on my studies. So that again gives your application a cadence, a very strong foothold that, why are you living such a well settled job, a comfortable job, and that too from a fantastic country, and why are you moving to a small town just to do your masters in Canada. The next paragraph was mostly about my course. Now remember that I have explained in the last few paragraphs about my academic experience, how I changed my stream from maybe say a computer science engineer to finance industry. That shows that, there is some logic to why I changed those streams, but even by changing that, I have excelled in my career. So why data analytics? I mentioned there are massive career opportunities for data scientists, not just in my home country, India, or probably Singapore, or the worldwide. So I also explained that, I did not want my 17, 18 years of work experience to go waste, but by doing a data analytics program, it will help my cause and, strengthen my resume furthermore. So you just have to write about your program. Now you understand, how although there are these different paragraphs, while I have demarcated them so that, if the visa officer gets bored about, reading why Trent, why a small town, why Canada, they can just skip through the next paragraph if they want. So if you just write a running a letter of explanation or statement of purpose, I think, it'll get difficult for the visa officer to understand what is this person trying to say. Following after I just talked about, the data analytics program. Of course, then there was about the career outcome and future scope. So here again, I directed them to the Canada website. I mean, I did not mention specifically about a Canada website. I mentioned about, there are the growing trend in this particular program. So it could be information security or data analytics or artificial intelligence, or supply chain management for that matter, or nursing, or even digital marketing if you're in the marketing space. So you need to explain as to what are the latest or upcoming future trends. And I also mentioned that, while I'm at age 41, while I'm making this application, due to all this longevity, I see myself working, say, until age 70 and 80s, and that's the reason why I want to do this, not mid-career transaction, but mid-career you are upskilling yourself. So this was my reasoning as to why I am choosing again to go back to studies at this age. Followed by this, I explained about my work association. Now this comes handy. So say if see if you are able to get your employer, see if you're able to get a letter from your employer stating that you are going away for the studies, but then when you're coming back, you might be absorbed, or even if you're not absorbed, you need to mention that you're taking a career break, like a sabbatical, and you will be more than willing to come back to whichever country that you're currently working at, and apply for work at the same levels that you were. The last and very important piece was, you have to talk about your family ties. Now, as I explained that my family is, my I submitted my application along with my daughter. So because my daughter was moving together with me, I had to show some more substantial family ties back in my home country. So I belong to India, and the ties that I mentioned there was that, my parents live in India, and during their retirement, while they are retired, once I complete my course, or once I have done everything, I have ancestral property back in India. I have parents back in India that I have to go back to, and I would want to settle in that country. So really have to, now if you see that in all the paragraphs that we have discussed, we've clearly stated that we are academically inclined to study. We have a valid work experience wherein we have been handling our roles and additional responsibilities, and the reason why we are choosing to study is to upskill ourselves so that we can come back, or just go to another country or find a very good job because of the future prospects of this course that we are doing. I've also shown, I used to do a lot of volunteering. I mentioned that, these are the ties that I have. I would love to come back to a community that I've belong to and keep contributing to. Of course, a closing summary is when you have to mention about the family ties. Now here you can see that the entire statement of purpose now looks like that, yeah, you are a genuine student, and that yes, you are going there to upskill yourself, but you won't be staying in Canada. So I hope this video is helpful to you. Passage wise breakdown of your SOP will help you write your own SOPs. If you want me to have a look at your SOP, feel free to book a session. I would be more than happy to review or give comments on your SOP. For more videos about my life as an international student, mature student in Canada, keep following the channel and I'll post more videos. Thank you so much. Bye for now.